Alright, welcome back to another triple threat basketball video. In this video I'm going to walk through some of the final touches that I've been putting on the game and just talk through what you're going to get. So I just finished up working on the score sheet here. You can see there's a running score, and then we have the away team and the home team, and I also have a section here for timing. So timing happens in 5-second increments, so it's either 10 seconds, 15, or 25. So those are the three sort of timing ways that a play could go. So I have these actually set up as 5-second increments. And then I've got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4 with a nice horizontal line for halftime, so you can distinguish those. And really all you're going to do is tick those off from, you know, how many ticks off the clock does it go. So 10 seconds is going to be 2, 3, 15 seconds is 3, 25 seconds is 5, and you'll sort of make your way down through the quarter that way. We have space for two players, so you can have a starter and a sub. You'll have their positions. There's a section here for the fouls and the turnovers for each of the players, so you keep fouls for the starters and for the subs. Here we have lines for points, assists, rebounds, blocks, and steals, which are all the different parts of the game that you actually can keep track of and get statistics for. I also put these little sort of reminders here. You probably can't see them very well, but you can see them when you're looking at them. They're super faint, but just as a reminder of, okay, here's, because sometimes you get like all the way over here and you're trying to figure out like, where do the points go again? Where do the assists go again? And so I'll put these sort of like little grayed out reminders. The point is to write over them, but they're there to just kind of help you as you move across the game. And you got first, second, third, fourth quarter. There's an overtime section, and then you can total up all of your statistics here. You have your first quarter score, second quarter, third, and fourth quarter scores. That's a little bit of a typo. We gotta fix that. There's an overtime score section, and then you have your final here. For the running score, you have home team or away team on the left, home team on the right, and then 1 through 75, 76 to 150. So it should give you enough points for each game to be able to go through, and you can just tick them off as you go through. You can tick off the numbers if you want to, or I like to sometimes tick off the number and put which player scored the points. That way I can go back and double check myself. So just a little something to think about, but then you got to figure out how to determine whether it was a sub or not a sub. So that would be up to you. We have fouls here, team fouls. So there's quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 team fouls. If you needed to use overtime, you could just go underneath, I think. And yeah, score sheet is looking good. It's a little small, so if you've got eyes that can't see it, you might want to grab a different score sheet. This was just for me to put together everything, but I don't think there's anything on here that you wouldn't be able to get from a different game score sheet or finding one online or something like that. Yeah, okay, so that's the score sheet. That's going to come with the game, so you'll be able to keep score. As far as what do you need, in terms of dice, this is my dice setup. So 2d6s, different colors, and I work with 3d10s. If you only have one d10, you could technically play the game that way. You're just going to roll that d10 a lot. So I typically roll these two dice together, and they determine the shot type or the pass whatever is going to happen on the play for the first, second, and third roll of the possession. And then I typically use the red one for shots. So when I actually get to the player card, I use the red one. And then often if there's a rebound, I'll use the red one for the rebound on the chart, and then I'll use the green one as a modifier die to let me know, is this an offensive rebound or a defensive rebound, which that's one way that you could do it. And then you'll probably need some sort of a game token. I've just been using this one here. Very familiar if you play Monopoly. So I like it because it's got a top that I can easily just sort of, grab it from one place and put it over to another place. I like that. And it stands up flat. Okay. So I've worked on the cards. Now I've been using these cards as sort of my own personal stash. You can see here, this is John Stockton. It's got his picture. It's got the Utah Jazz logo. I don't have the legal right to sell these cards like this, so I had to come up with something different. And I still think it's cool to be able to have the photos. So totally sets the game off in a different way, right? Rather than just having a blank card or a card with a logo on it. But so I have a few different options for you. The first option will be like this. So you'll just basically have the bottom section without the image, right? And so you can just cut these out and you can, arrange them for your team. If you're short on space, it might be a really good option to do that. But you can see each of these squares is a player and a card for the game. Second option is this. So this is going to be his first time I'm sort of showing off the Triple Threat basketball logo. So you can see it there. And basically this is the card, right? So same card, just with the image removed, and you can have the logo there. So if you like the tall cards and you don't want the images, it's not a super complex or color heavy logo. So you can have that, and then you can still have the tall cards, but you won't have to use quite as much ink. And also, I don't know, if you like the tall cards, might just be easier to manipulate them, I'm not sure. And then the third option is going to be, and you can see that these really are the same one. So we have Bill Russell, Irving, Jabbar, and Archibald, and that's who we have here. We just have them with the images. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you, I've created these images in an image editing program, and I've exported them as JPEG files. So with your download, or probably as a free download off of the website, I'm going to provide those. So I can't technically sell them because I don't own the rights to sell them. But I did create something, and I can share and distribute that with you. I think that is definitely within the realm of possibility. A lot of these images come off of the NBA 75th anniversary website. Some of them are just pulled from Google Images. I will freely admit that. So hopefully, I won't get in any trouble distributing those. These are just my own personal work. The logos I obviously don't own, but many of them are very old, like this old Celtics logo. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's kind of an old logo down there. That would have been the logo that the Celtics were using at the time. There's an old Kings logo you can see there from Archibald. And then where possible, I tried to use specific logos for not only specific teams, but specific eras of the team. So if you go to Sports Logos, I think it's called sportslogos.net or something like that, they have a really great archive of just old logos. And just, if you're curious, it's a really fun and amazing place, because it's not just basketball or or baseball. It's all sorts of sports, and really interesting to just kind of go through how logos used to be and what they look like now, and the evolution of a logo. How many teams, like every 4 years, change their logo. That's interesting too. So these are the same cards. It's just that these have an image applied, and what you could do is you could take these cards here in the PDF and you can open them in Photoshop, and if you have some skill with image editing or basic image editing, you should be able to open or copy those images and then put them on here, and then reprint the cards, print the cards, or print the PDF with those images on top of them. So that is possible, and I'm gonna provide you everything you need to do that, but you are gonna have to figure that out. So everybody's computer is different, and everybody has a different level of skill. So I'm not about to sort of wade out into those waters, but you should be able to take one image, put it on top of this file in this space here. These images, you can see that they are you can see they're the exact size that you need for this. So when I created these cards here, I created them with the exact size that I needed to fit into the space on the spreadsheet, which is what I typically use. But you'll also be able to take these. It'll have the logo, it'll have the image, and you'll be able to put that right there. And then once you have that image set or created, you can export to PDF and then print, or you should be able to just print the images on the page themselves. So that's my thinking there. I'm trying to respect. I did photography in the past, so I'm really trying to respect as much as I can the photography of others, especially a lot of these are professional photos. So I'm trying to respect that while still offering up something really unique. This is just 2 teams worth, but you can see all types of players. We have modern players, we have players who were playing a long time ago, and then some sort of in the middle. I've gone through the you can see Elgin Baylor there. So I've gone through the PDF file, and I've sort of separated them as classic players and modern players, and I'm considering modern to be like 1980 and onward. So Bird, Magic, even Kareem. I know that he's sort of one of those crossovers, right? He kind of moves over into both. John Stockton is considered a modern player. Jordan would be a modern player. Definitely Anthony Davis would be a modern player. Clyde Drexler. But Rick Barry played in the 70s for the most part, and he would be considered a classic, part of the classic players. Magic is a modern player. Elgin Baylor would be a classic player. You know, he played in the 60s and 70s. What else? I think it's Malone under there. Wilt Chamberlain, definitely a classic player. Durant would be a modern player. Dave Bing would be a classic player. So just sort of an idea, if you know who those players are, where they fall. And I'm not going to show it on the video, but you'll also get the game engine chart. That's actually, those charts are the thing that drives the game. Don't really want to give those away. Maybe I already have given away too much, I don't know. But I have it right here, and you will also get that as a download. And basically it's one sheet, and it has everything that you need to make decisions on each play. It has it on that one sheet. And then of course you'll get a game guide. So I've been working on that a little bit at a time. That's probably the next big project for the game, is the game guide, now that there's a logo in place and the score sheet is in place with the timing, and the cards are ready to go. So I think everything is here that needs to be here. There might be some fine tuning that needs to happen to the game engine, but each time I go through and I play a little bit, you know, I'm looking at the cards, I'm tweaking them. You can see they're white over here instead of black now. Before, instead of the rolls being black, that was kind of hard to see, and really an unnecessary use of the black color. So I'm just thinking about when you have to print them out. I don't want you to unnecessarily have to print in color. Obviously you can print any of these in black and white if you wanted to, if you want to save on color, but it really does bring out something different just to see the team colors and to be able to see the players in their team colors. And yeah, especially when you see them with the image and then you have their team colors, it's a pretty cool experience, I think. I can't think of anything else. I think I'm gonna just go ahead and start this on the Uptempo website. I already have a place for basketball. I'll have to just kind of see what that is gonna look like, how that's gonna go. We'll see. Maybe I'll just wind up having my own website for that too. But I'm starting to get into the area where I need to create one website with all my games on it, I'm pretty sure. I've been resisting that and fighting that. If you have any ideas for what a game company, if you've been keeping up with my baseball and basketball and football games, what would a company that I'm making games for, what would it be? What would be the name of that? I really have no idea. I think about it sometimes and I just really can't come up with a really good name. Paper Tiger Games would be really great, but I think it's already used, so probably because I think it's great. So don't know how that would work, but it would be nice to be able to just send people to one website, and you know, each of these games has its own page on the website. So I think that's coming in the future, and then you know, the links will still work as far as uptempobasketballgame.com or onbasebaseball.com, but it'll just take you to those specific pages of a larger website, sort of like the other gaming companies have. But really wanted to hit the market hard, and so each game having its own website has been really stellar for getting noticed, really. And if you look up Cards and Dice Baseball, you know, you're gonna find On Base pretty quick. And if you look up Cards and Dice Basketball, I think you're gonna find Uptempo Basketball pretty quick as well. And looking for the same thing here with Triple Threat. Yeah, man, I think that's it for this one. I just wanted to kind of show you what I was working on and give an update on the game. It's getting very close indeed. And I think all the parts are in play to be able to release the game. Just need to do some things on the administrative side to get that up and going and ready for you to purchase. I feel really good about where the game is in terms of stats and gameplay, and I think you can keep all the major stats pretty easily. You can also sort of skip some things if you want to, and you know, if you don't want to keep assists and rebounds and steals and blocks and all that kind of stuff, but you want them to be in the game, you can roll them without having to like take the time to go through and figure out, okay, who is the person who committed this foul or did this block or whatever. You know, if you only want to run 5 players at a time and you just don't want to do any subs, you could do that too. The first set is going to have 76 players, and it's based off of the 75th anniversary team that I think in 2021 the NBA announced that. And so there are 76. There was a tie, so there are 76 players in the 75th anniversary, 75 best players of all time. So it's going to be an all-time set, and the players who are still playing are not in the Hall of Fame, but from what I've seen for every other player, those are Hall of Fame players. You'll basically be able to run a game against the Celtics and the Lakers for sure, and probably the 76ers or who else? There's maybe the Warriors. Like you can do the old school Warriors. There's a couple of teams just in the NBA that have been around for forever, and so they have all the great players. So you'll be able to definitely run back the greatest Celtics against the greatest Lakers, and probably have bench players on top of that. There's so many of them. So it's a fun thing, and you're gonna get some interesting players. There's some modern players. There's some semi-modern players. If you like the 80s and 90s, there's tons of players from the 80s and 90s that you remember growing up, and a lot of players from 2000 up to today. So Giannis is in there, and so is KD, and so is James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. There's just a ton of guys who are still playing, who are actually in the set as well. So you got some like ultra modern players. Steph Curry is in there as well. So this seems like a cool set. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and to me it feels tedious, but I think to others they're really gonna like the depth of gameplay, just because it's gonna be more. There's gonna be more depth to it than up-tempo basketball for sure. Up-tempo was created in response to games like this. But I had an idea for this game, and so I went with it, and kind of wanted to do something more in-depth and see if I could do that. And so I created it, and here we are. And one of the cool things that I did is I went through each of the, let's see if we can find a post player. So Bill Russell here, you can see Bill Russell's card. Hopefully that'll get on there pretty well. But you have his post up, and it's not just good or not good. So I actually went through and created different types of shots. So was it a jumper from, it's a post up move and he turns it into like a little turnaround jumper, or does he shoot a little hook or a baby hook in the lane? Is it a layup? Is it a dunk? Because sometimes guys will make a post move and then they go in and they flush it, right? So same thing with Dave Cowens, right? So Dave Cowens has, maybe I didn't go through for him. I guess some of these I still need to change, but you can see Bill Cunningham here. He's got a hook, he's got a jumper. Let's see. Yeah, for Kareem. You can see with Kareem here, he's got a couple of dunks, he's got a layup, he's got two hooks. So obviously he's shooting the sky hook all the time, and a turnaround jumper. So that's kind of a fun little part too. What I wanted to do was try to get some color into the game, so that as you're either streaming games, which I hope that you do, or you're just maybe doing color commentary. I know a lot of gamers like to do color commentary, just talking to themselves as they're playing, or if you're playing with a friend. So I know that that's part of it, and hopefully that gives you a little bit more meat, a little bit of a hook to hook onto while you're playing the game. So not only is it, he makes a low post move and he scores, but it's like he goes up and under and he hammers it home for a dunk, or he does an up and under move and he lays it in off the glass. So just a little bit of something. We can add a little bit of detail in a small amount of space that just kind of brings the game alive in your head a little bit. So that is my sort of overview of where the game is right now. I know a lot of you have shown some interest in it, and so I'm very thankful for that. I know there aren't a lot of full play basketball games out there that are still in production. So hopefully this one will stand up against any of them. And it's a pretty small footprint. If you know me, that's kind of what you get. It's not a huge footprint. It'll be the game engine chart, the cards, whatever size cards you choose to use. Obviously, these are going to be a smaller footprint, and then also the score sheet, whatever score sheet you decide to use, even if it's just a piece of paper. And then really that's it. And then you got the dice. So my games tend to have a pretty small footprint. Don't think you could play this one on an airplane, but because you just have to you kind of have to have the cards out in front of you so that you can reference them quite often. But it is definitely small enough you could share a desk with somebody else and still, be able to play. Everything kind of stacks together whenever you're playing, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. All right, if you have any questions about the game, please leave them in the comment section. I will get to them usually the same day, but definitely as quickly as I can. If you want to email me instead, you can email me at uptempobasketballgame@gmail.com. uptempobasketballgame@gmail.com, and I'll receive those emails and get back to you quickly as well. And you can follow this on the Sports Simulations and Replays Facebook group, or tabletop. I think there's a Tabletop Hoops Facebook group that I'm posting these things to as well. So hopefully this is a new game, new blood for everybody to try and to play. There's lots of different options that you can do as far as the players are concerned. You can play new versus old. You can just mix them up. You could do a draft. Especially if you only did 5-on-5, you could have an entire league of 5-on-5 because you've got 75 players, and that gives you I don't know, what does that give you? 10, 12 teams. You could do a 12-team league with 5 guys, and you just don't count fouls, that kind of thing, so that nobody can foul out, and then you're just playing them. So you could actually do a full season play with just the 75 players that are going to be available. And they're all different levels of defense. They're all different levels of whether they're post-up players or 3-point shooters or guys who like to take the ball to the rim. So there's all types of players. Some of them are really good shooters. Some of them are really poor shooters, like Dennis Rodman. And then there's everything in between. You have your Scottie Pippen types who play good defense and are okay offensive players. And then you have Michael Jordan, and you have Kareem, and one of the cool parts that you can just see right here is the difference between the players, right? So the drive, the layup, the jumper, the post up, and the free throw. So these last 5 here, this is their ability to pass or how many turnovers. So Tiny Archibald has more, he's almost 20% turnover rate for the plays that he was in there. So his turnovers are a little bit higher, but for most players, they have a couple of turnovers on the pass, and then a couple of chances to get blocked. But you can see, like an equalizer on an audio system, right? You can see it sort of go up and down. But you can see by looking, who goes to the foul line more. So here, these guys are not getting to the foul line as nearly as much as Kareem or Dr. J or Bill Russell. And so you can see who's getting to the foul line, how they're getting there, what sort of offensive player. You can see here that his green is way up compared to everybody else's greens. But Bill Russell and Kareem are, they have pretty high greens. You can see who the really great free throw shooters are. Rick Barry, 90% chance there. And Wilt Chamberlain, only a 40% chance of making free throws. Just not a very good free throw shooter. So you can really see the reflection of the players here. which I think is really cool because you kind of get a feel for who should I be passing it to. Do I really want to kick it to that guy with the game on the line, or when I really need a bucket? Because if he's open, his chance of making a jumper is not good. You know, he's got a I don't know, 40% chance of making a jumper, 30% chance of making a jumper. So is Wilt really the one that you want to have the ball when the shot clock is running down, that sort of thing? So I feel like you really get a sense, and if you kind of look at the players, you'll get a sense of, okay, you know, I feel like I can trust this player to take a three with somebody in his face, or I can trust this player to get in the lane and get a foul, that kind of thing. So I think it'll be really cool. I hope that you get a chance to try it, to buy it, to try it out, and to play it, and tell others about it whenever the time comes, which will probably be very soon, if I'm guessing. All right, I think that's it for here. Look for this game to be coming to you very soon, and as soon as I can get everything straightened out with the website and all that kind of stuff, it'll be probably ready for you to consume. Yeah, excited about this one. I hope that you are too. I hope the tabletop basketball community can get behind this one the same way they have with Uptempo. It's been very thankful for that reception of that game, and I think it's a new entry into the market that provides something a little bit interesting. All right, I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next